Welcome to Retro Scale Modelling. This next build is for the Airfix Hawker Hurricane Mk1 scale 172. I've already built this model. You can see it in the previous videos. What I'm going to be doing here is placing it into a diorama. Now the diorama is just going to be a simple basic diorama. But let's jump into this and see how well I get on. So the first thing I've got here is the model of the Hurricane here, and I've got a piece of cardboard and I'm just making a marker on the dimensions that I need for the base. Now I've decided to use cardboard just because I had a bit of cardboard at hand, and I was going to use wood initially, but I thought this is going to be a very simple diorama. I don't want to go into too much detail on it, so I thought I'll try a bit of cardboard and see how that copes with everything. So after cutting out the basic shape, I use an actual lid from a spare crayon to mark out the corners. That's the white lid that you see there on the bench. I'm putting the Hurricane on the cardboard now, and I'm just marking out where I want the wheels to be on the diorama. So I'll just carry on marking these out. Now I should point out at this stage, I was actually going to place the Spitfire into this small diorama, but I changed my mind. If you watched the Spitfire video as part of this little diorama series I'm doing, you may remember that I said I was going to take the landing gear off. That's not the case now because I've decided to use the Hurricane instead. So that's my basic markings. This is where the wheels will touch down on the surface. Now it's actually going to be in a crash scene, so I've got some hot water here, and I'm just tipping the prop into the water to soften up the plastic. And once it's softened up, I'm just gently bending the props into the aircraft itself. If you're going to be doing this, either do it before you paint it, or make sure the paint is completely hard dried before you do it, or your paint will flake off or run. I'm not going for any specific pattern here. I just want the props to appear to be damaged. So I'll take a couple of goes to get this right, but you can see them starting to bend. So to move on, now I'm coating the surface with some PVA white glue, and then I'm taking some air drying clay. You can buy this from most model shops, hobby shops, and of course online. And I'm just placing that down where I've put the white PVA glue on. Now the whole surface will be covered in this clay. This is because I don't want a tarmac base. I want a grassland base come textured, hence why the clay. As I'm placing the clay down, and when I get to the markings on the cardboard, that's when I'll start moulding it into the shape that I require. And to shape it, I'm just either using my fingers, or I've got the end of my tweezers here just to mark in the area where the tire marks are going to be. And once that's done, I'll just smooth everything out. I don't want it to be 100% smooth, I want it to be textured. So I'm just roughly putting my finger over it and getting all the major lumps out of the way and just smoothing it down slightly. I'll put this to the side. This is going to take about 3 to 4 days to dry out. And I should point out as well, I'm going to be putting this on under a bit of weight because the cardboard will interacting with the moisture or the clay will bore the cardboard. So to lessen that, I'll be placing a bit of weight on it when it's semi-dry, just to flatten everything out. And then I'll just do a final check to make sure I'm happy with the position. As you can see, I've put down some red primer to coat all the clay. It took about 3 days for it to dry. But so now is to lay down some markings. So first of all, I'm using Humbrol's 29 Dark Earth. Now you can use any brown paint or something for dirt or earth, but I've just got the Humbrol at hand, so I'm using that. I'm using one of my old brushes to do this as well, and I'm just stabbing in the paint to fill up the crevice I made with my tweezers. You may notice the clay's cracked slightly. That is because when it was drying, I was putting weight on it to level it out. That's perfectly okay because all this is going to be covered. And the purpose of the primer is to seal the clay as well. You can seal it with paint, glue, PVA glue, things like that. But it's important to seal the clay once it's dried, because moisture can still get in otherwise, and your clay can then turn into a soggy mess, really. And now I'm recoating the primer with some PVA glue for the next stage. I'm then sprinkling on some static grass where I put the glue. Now I've got two different colours of this static grass. They're basically the same, and I'm just going to be building up the tones and colours with this. So you can see there it's almost done. Cut a little patches, they've still got to fill in. I'll then coat my spreader with a little bit more PVA and go down the tracks for the tiles and run down the markers. Now the reason for that is that'll cluster up the bits of grass I've put on to give it a more of a natural look, that something's been dragged over it. So it's back to the hurricane, and as you can see the props are nicely bent in now. Now I want to create some build holes, so I've got a normal sewing needle here, and I'm heating up the tip. If you do this, be very careful. It's a naked flame, and you can easily burn yourself, so be very careful if you do this. And then all I'm doing is pushing the needle through to the areas where I want to simulate bullet holes. Now this will leave a residue on the paint as well, so that'll give sort of like a Scotch mark where the bullet holes have gone in. And I'm using the same process on the canopy. Again, I can't express enough how careful you have to be with this, because it's quite easily, one, you can stab yourself with a needle, obviously, and two, you can burn your finger. So just be careful if you're doing this. But you'll find the needle will pass easily through the plastic once it's heated up. So I'm just doing the front of the canopy here, just two little holes at the front of the canopy. I'm now using Tamiya's Wither Master Series B, and I'm using the soot component here just to mark up the hurricane with Scotch marks and general dirt. I'm doing this quite liberally, putting deep marks onto the actual surface. As you can see there, the soot's going on, just streaking it down the wings and fuselage. I'm doing the same on the underside as well, but you really won't see much of this. Adding the aerial, there's something I just generally don't bother with, but this time I'm putting it in. So I'm using some fishing cable or wire to simulate this. This is quite a thin one, and I'm just securing it with a bit of super glue. Now the camera can't really pick it up, but it is there. And then I'm just painting the wire with some Humbrol 53 gun metal. And once that's all done, I'm breaking the landing gear, as you can see there. I'm laying it flat in a broken position, and then I'll be securing the model to the base by using some super glue. So the hurricane itself is going to be nose deep in the ground, and the tail end is just going to be pointing up. So as I said, a very simple diorama, but effective. And this is where the build ends. So if you haven't done so already, why don't you check out the channel for my other builds? If you subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell, that way you'll be kept up to date with all my builds in the future. Hit the like button, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and of course you can share the video. But for now, thank you all very much for watching. Bye bye.